Hi, I'm Catherine Sigmund, and I'm here to discuss some of the different questions that might be asked of me in a corporate or business setting to see my knowledge and determine how much I do know about IO psychology. So, getting started, one of the first questions for this assignment is how have recent historical events affected the course of research in organizational psychology, and give an example of an event and the resulting outcome. First off, I always think of COVID-19 as the most recent event that has happened that's affected everyone, not only healthcare industry, business industry, educational industry, and also in personal lives with work-life balance. So one of the hardest tasks was working remote and figuring out how people can work remote, because with having all of be having to be separated, or with the social distancing and everything, it was imperative for businesses to be able to know how to function but not being staffed as they were, at least in close quarters. So learning how to function remotely or hybrid, so that there could be interchanging of certain people in the company on certain days and things like that, while still making money for the business, while still having employees draw in a paycheck. So, essential workers, they had their own battle to uphold on that end of IO psychology, because the companies, hospitals, businesses who needed the essential workers were dealing with workers who were overused, honestly. They were burned out, and they were some of the few that were consistently drawing a paycheck and continuing to still make ends meet, so to say, but they were also exposed to the dangerous conditions. And also a lot of work from home positions, or those in the essential aspect of it, they had families, and a lot of families, their children, in dealing with children with COVID-19, there was a lot of back and forth on, are they in school? Are they doing school from home? Are they going to school certain days? So they still dealt with the same issues on another level. So having the work-life balance in line with them, with the employees who are going to work or not going to work, or they've been fired. So those have all been a lot of constraints that have been a very big hot topic and a great conversation to open the door to a healthy work-life balance. And so the resulting outcome from COVID-19 is there has been more research on it, to where the impacts of having a healthy work-life balance, of being able to have employees work hybrid or work from home, having different technological advances, being able to help facilitate that as well. They've also been impacted by COVID-19. Let's see here. Then in question 2, let's see. Okay, so it says, describe the socialization process for graduate students in your program. And is the program successful in socializing newcomers and creating job embeddedness? So first and foremost, I completely appreciate having the discussion boards available in classes, just in general, because going through them and being able to share personally who I am, if I have, what my values are, what I prioritize in my life, what I feel I want to accomplish, is important for me to set forth for other people, as well as me reading what everyone else is going through, how their lives are, what they want to accomplish. I think that's a great way to structure us being able to feel as a community, especially, going through a graduate program. It's not easy, regardless if someone is, in their early 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s. It's great to see all the different kinds of people that are collectively wanting to pursue this idea and this degree. So that first off, and then having the welcome video, of course, from Professor. It's great to be spoken to with confidence and clarity of what potentially being an IO psychology graduate degree, major student would do, and being able to see the different pathways that we have and the different doors that are open and how we can impact something that I'm assuming others in the program would value. And then with the material and the different things that are provided within this course specifically, as if we were to be ex-consultant or be the go-to, I feel like that puts us in a sense of responsibility. That puts us as if we did have that job, and the different scenarios that we would have, how we would accomplish that, how we would talk to different members or employees or managers within the company on how to successfully accomplish the goal of helping the company and helping the employees, best practices. And I think that putting us in those different scenarios and making us think kind of outside the box where a lot of us might be unfamiliar, I think that's going to be a good learning tool for us in the future. And I will say that this project in and of itself, I don't know, it almost feels like an interview, and I don't know with the different students how many have had experiences with interviews, but it might add, of course, the stress or anxiety aspect to it, but it's also part of the job. When you are in a business or in a company, you have to have an interview. And after, if you have the job, you have to speak to other people, you have to engage with other people, you have to try to feel comfortable and confident in what you know, to relay the information and build some sort of relationship and communication with them. So an assignment like this, although it could be uncomfortable and unnerving, for some might find it exciting and they might really enjoy it, as they might enjoy speaking to others. But for a lot of people, it might help them also overcome different anxieties and stressors that come from this sort of thing, which is going to be a necessary portion of any job in IO psychology in some aspect. One of the next questions is, how can an organization reduce or prevent work-family conflict? Well, I think one of the first things that a company it can recognize that the work-family conflict exists, and for it to put policies in place that support employees in that area. Burnout is huge, and it's when the work-life balances are not being met and employers experience this hardship because employees can quit. There's a lower quality of work that's being performed, and the low morale of the company within the employees or in the office, that's going to affect work production. That's going to affect the whole atmosphere of the office. So that being said, there's so many employees that have significant others, that they're caregivers for others, whether that be children, pets, other family members. But it also, outside of working hours, there's mental health and having outlets for stress, responsibilities, someone taking care of their physical health and their quality of life. They're all integral to maintaining a healthy work-life balance. So a company that promotes having a healthy work-life balance, and also having managers that implement this and provide the necessary time to accomplish this, again, it's going to give employees a greater sense of feeling and accomplishment within their job. It's going to give them the rest and the mental outlets to be able to come back to jobs and feel more refreshed and be able to complete and do as the company sees fit. So it's helping both. It's helping the company and it's helping the employees. So that provides for better quality of work and a work environment. And moving on to the next one. It says, imagine you've been asked to develop a performance assessment program for employee development. What techniques could you use to adequately evaluate performance as comprehensively as possible? Well, looking through the material and reading the material, they all have a lot of great things to offer. I really like Campbell's model of job performance. It's according to the in-role, extra-role distinction and the 8 performance dimensions, that because they can help evaluate the employees' performance on multiple levels, because there are two separate parts to it. There's the in role, and then there's the extra role. So with the in role, it's job specific task proficiency, and then the non-specific task proficiency. So that basically just shows how well someone does their job, or does a job that is not necessarily tasked to them, but that they still perform. And so then the extra role, this one is the behaviors that are not directly specific to one particular job, but these behaviors should be demonstrated by employees just as a whole. And those are written and oral communication. They're demonstrating effort, maintaining personal discipline, facilitating peer and team performance. They have supervision or leadership qualities, and management and administration qualities as well. So going through the 8 items, the facilitating peer and team performance has been seen as one of the most valuable portions of the performance review process, because team effectiveness impacts the work environment. So a person who scores high in this area has been seen to have behavioral characteristics, taking accountability for their role and group problems, and encouraging positive communication and understanding of tasks, using problem-solving measures that are effective and that are appropriate, and other behaviors support the team in a healthy manner. And also using the OCB, the organizational citizenship behaviors. So it's also important because a person having these traits could be a great asset to a company and an organization, because it shows how their personal affect and disposition, they're regarded as positive, and they add value to the company because these traits bring cohesiveness and an overall positive value system. So a person who is helpful, who wants to be able to bring employees together, who wants to successfully complete tasks, who has great communication skills, who wants to have the least amount of conflict as possible in an office. I mean, these are great personal traits for an employee to possess, which can change the overall dynamic of an office or a business or company. And let's see here. The next one says, what are some possible common organizational constraints, and how could they lead to counterproductive behaviors? So the common organizational constraints are personal factors, and those are seen as traits, and those are precursors to counterproductive work behavior, like conscientiousness, trait anger, self-control, and narcissism. Conscientiousness, for if it is low in somebody, it accounts for higher levels of the CWB and the counterproductive behaviors, because having low conscientiousness does not allow a person to realize what needs to be handled, what they're doing might not be effective, how they're responding or speaking to somebody, or not having the overall big picture of what's going on, can lead to the higher levels of the CWB. Another one's trait anger. When that's high, the CWB is going to be high. It's going to, because someone who expresses a lot of anger, experiences a lot of anger, has a lot of trouble controlling their anger, that's always a conduit for negativity within relationships. And employees in an office, and supervisors and managers or customers, they're all relationships. And that's going to head them south real quick if someone has trait anger. So if they show that as well, that's counterproductive. Another one is self-control, not being able to control oneself in situations, because there are going to be difficult situations in all aspects of life. And within those different areas of life, having the ability to control oneself, is going to be able to further what's going to happen positively in a company. Because there's going to be somebody who says something negative. There's going to be someone whom you feel has snubbed you. There's going to be a time when you feel that someone was short with you, or you were passed up for an opportunity or something like that. And being able to control oneself in the situation and be able to sit back and reflect, that's positive, but it's counterproductive when being able to self-control when that's low. And then another one is narcissism. And narcissism, just like these other, traits, if this one is high, then there are going to be issues, interpersonal issues. So, narcissism is not necessarily one of the ones that can be controlled per se or put under control, minus a lot of, help with a counselor, things like that, self-awareness. But there again, that's what narcissism is. It's not being self-aware of what that is. So that's a difficult one. But if someone has narcissistic traits, then that's going to have counterproductive effects. There's also situational factors that can lead to counterproductive behaviors. Those, like norms, injustice, and stressor emotional model. And it seems that any of these behaviors that go against the organizational goals for the company, that those are seen as counterproductive. Spectre has the 5-factor model, talks about production deviance, sabotage, theft, withdrawal, abuse towards others. And another big one is employee absenteeism. So when a person, and there, of course, I'm sure are other different factors, or they could all relay into it, but, stealing from the company, withdrawing their personal work ethic from the company and still being paid, abuse towards others, doing things that are defiant or deviant, sabotaging the company's goals, work goals. Those are all different things that are negative towards business, towards a company, and towards relationships, and that go against the industrial and organizational psychological goals, which are to enhance and make a positive impact in the working world for employees and for companies. So I really appreciate your time in listening to this. Thank you for hearing me ramble on. I appreciate this, and I really do. I enjoy the class, and thank you so much for all the encouragement that you give to us each and every week through your different announcements and videos. Thank you so much. Bye.